Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Good Morning with me, Misti B. Hey guys, how are you today? You know what? Someone literally sent me a message this morning saying, hey, can I come and sit in at the studio audience at your show? We're not there quite yet, but you guys keep watching because you know the sky is the limits, and that's if you don't want to be an astronaut, so you never know where we're going to go. Now, today's guest is someone you may have never, ever heard of, but I promise you after watching the show, you're going to say, this is pretty inspiring. His name is Darin Jordan. Does that name ring a bell? It may not. He is a former NFL player. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Oakland Raiders, and the San Francisco 49ers between 88 and 1994. And that's when my team, the Dallas Cowboys, was reigning. Woohoo! But today, Darin is not only going to talk about his life during the NFL, he's going to talk about life after the NFL. What do you do when you've accomplished your dream? Stay tuned, guys. We're going to be right back after this break.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month. Both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Hello, welcome back, beautiful people. Today in the studio, I have Mr. Darin Jordan, who has played for 3 NFL teams, and we're about to have a little conversation. So, Mr. Jordan.
Yes.
Okay, tell me what teams
it's a long conversation, a great conversation.
Can you make this a great conversation for me?
Yes, I can. 100%.
Thank you.
100%.
Now, tell me, what teams did you play for in the NFL?
So I started with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1988 and 89. And then I left there and went to the Raiders in 1990. And then in 91 through 94, I was with the San Francisco 49ers and was blessed enough to win 94 Super Bowl with San Francisco.
Oh, look at you. Okay, so how many years in the NFL?
A total of 7.
7, okay.
But, you know, I was a journeyman, called back, but a total of 7 years. And, you know, it was a long grinding road, that's for sure.
Say, that's a pretty good tenure, right, in the
100%.
NFL.
And 3 great teams as well.
Oh, yeah. So very good. Okay, now let's talk. So, you know, everybody complains and gripes that there's differences between the NFL now versus then when you were playing.
Correct.
What are the differences?
Well, there are a lot of differences, but some are good, some are bad. I think how they, you know, kind of protect the quarterback is just beyond what they need to protect the quarterback. They need to give them a little bit less protection so that the defensive linemen, the offensive linemen, the linebackers, the players can treat them as players and not put them on a pedestal, right? And we can't touch them. So when we're trying to attack these quarterbacks and, you know, make them feel a little uncomfortable, it's hard for us because there's always a penalty being thrown if we don't hit them the exact correct way. Mm-hmm. And this is one thing that's a big gripe amongst a lot of players and fans and people. Another thing is the wide receivers. Now I'm a linebacker, so my job is to hit people and hurt people, right? But in a very gentle way, very gentle way. So these wide receivers, you know, they have to catch the ball before we can dislodge them. And these are the kind of things that are more prevalent now. They're allowing them to catch them. Where back in the day, as soon as that ball touched their hands, we were allowed to blast them. But now they want to protect them. They protect them a little bit too much. Right?
Okay, but wait, hold on, pause. Darin, what was the movie that Will Smith did? Concussion?
Concussion.
So you want to, you want
Well, I saw it 4 times and I still don't remember it. But no.
That's intentionally.
No, but it will be straight. I mean, I'm not saying the NFL is wrong for what they're doing, and they're going in the right direction 100%, and they're doing some great things. I just personally feel that there are a few things that they've gone not overboard, but they can pull back some.
Just pull back.
Just a few things.
So do you feel like now it's like flag football?
No, not even close.
Okay.
It's not flag football. People want to say flag, not even close. I'm just saying those are two small aspects that they could tweak a little bit, but there are so many great things that they make better that it's still going in the right direction.
Okay.
I ain't hating at all, because they're doing the right thing. And there are some things that they've made leaps and bounds that are just tremendous as far as helping the players out in their, as we're going to talk about, in their careers later on down the road.
Okay, so I got to push a little button, right?
Oh, you should. You can
I got to
push all
have
the
fun
buttons.
with you.
It's okay. I don't mind.
So,
that.
my favorite team is America's team.
Yes.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Oh.
Don't you do it. The Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
And you got a chance to play them in their, when they were shining in that era. How many times, I'm just curious, how many times did you get beat by the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, concussion-wise, I don't remember, but I only remember beating them one time. But we did lose to them. You're right. We lost to them in 92 and 93. And then
That's when you were playing for
the 49ers.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
Okay, now let's dive in seriously now. So talk to us about life after the NFL. You have a dream. You accomplished the dream.
Yes.
You accomplished it for 7 years.
Yes. The dream was to get there.
Okay.
And then the second dream, once you get there, was to win the Super Bowl. I got to win the Super Bowl. I was blessed enough to win the Super Bowl, and that was great. But then after that, I was able to, I was married, and my wife then was a pediatric surgeon, and I was able to play the game and walk away from the game and start my second career, third career, and fourth career. One being a full-time Mr. Mom, primary caregiver to my two kids. They're 25 and 26 right now, and I was with them since they were 6 months and a day.
Okay.
And my wife was going through residency. But at the same time, I was also doing some TV work for the Baltimore Ravens, doing some public speaking, and also doing some personal training.
So you did a lot.
Oh, yeah. I dabbled. 100%.
So if you had to give advice to former NFL players or players who are in the NFL now, or any of the leagues, right? What's life like afterwards? What do they do to make sure that they're still feeling fulfilled?
Well, the difference is this. Back in the day, they had no programs for us. Coming out, going into college, they weren't programs for us. Going to the pros, they weren't programs for us. And after that, they really weren't programs for us. Now, the NFL has programs starting even in college, even going into the pros, where you can have a second career while you're playing. You can have a second career during the offseason.
Okay, hold on. Define second career.
Meaning they give you opportunities for different industries that you may want to get into. There are different companies that are hiring you to work while you're in school or while you're playing. They'll work with you with your interview process. They'll work with you with handling your finances. They'll work with you in things that you want to do. If you have a goal as an entrepreneur, okay, as an entrepreneur, here's what I think I want to do later on in life. How do I attain that? Who do I talk to get to that level? Who should I talk to financially? Who do I talk to, set up a business program? These are things that we had no access to, no idea about.
Wow.
But now these programs exist, and not even exist. The NFL is pushing the players to say, hey, here is something for you, and we're going to push you and show you how to have access to that. And they're really working with us, working with the current players now to give them a second career. And I also think one thing has changed is the players are now doing more coaching.
Okay.
Back in the day, a lot of players didn't do as much coaching. I think there's more players getting actively as they're playing into a coaching career. It wasn't that way. And it was kind of frustrating for the players saying, how can I play this game, but yet at the same time when I'm done playing, I can't coach. Coaching and playing.
I need you to hold that thought. We're about to go to break, okay? Really quickly.
All right.
Guys, we're going to be right back after this break with Mr. Jordan and his life after the NFL.
Roof up at Ron Carter Cadillac with the new 2021 XT6 Luxury Collection with standard third row seating for just $459 a month for 39-month lease with only $1 down. Or purchase and receive 1.9% APR for 60 months plus $2,500 bonus cash. Gulf Freeway just 2 minutes south of the Beltway. Test drive the new 2021 Escalade today at Ron Carter Cadillac.
Smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm a part of the prenatal care club now, taking all my STD tests.
Did you know your doctor's required by law to test you 3 times for syphilis and HIV?
Yes, my husband and I are making sure I get all 3 tests.
Good. Testing is the key to preventing congenital syphilis.
And good prenatal care is your first labor of love.
Glad to hear your husband is so involved.
Thank you. Yes, taking all my STD tests for syphilis is important to both of us. My prenatal promise is to prevent a stillbirth or miscarriage. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back. I'm still in the studio with Mr. Darin Jordan. Darin Jordan. I'm about to give you a new name.
It's all right.
You need a new name.
No. I like my name
I'm
right
joking.
where it is.
Okay, now you were telling us about all the different programs that they have in the NFL.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
So
Now.
let's talk about back then for just a second.
Okay.
So what were your options back then? What were you thinking? I mean, you told us everything you did.
Right.
But how did you get like a leg into all those different things?
Well, I think back in the day, the higher end players, they had stuff going on. Because if you're a well-known player in the NFL, people want access to you.
Okay.
And through that access, they're going to do what they got to do.
So a spokesperson,
yeah.
sponsor. Okay, gotcha.
Right. So for me, I had great friends would be like Brent Jones,
okay,
who were doing different things, and they'd say, "Hey, Chopper," my nickname was Chopper. They say, "We have this going on. We have this speaking event. We have this writing event. We have this event where we're doing some fundraisers. We have this event we're doing some auctioneering. I can't do it. Can you take my place? Or can you come on board?" Also, there were things that you would seek out that different companies that were out there that you would have to, have your agent work with you and work on you and saying, "Hey, here's my player. Here's what he's trying to do."
Okay.
But these programs, they weren't programs. They were things that you had to actively do.
It's kind of like networking, honestly.
It is.
It sounds like it.
It
Okay.
is. But now they have the programs that are set in place, and corporations know about that. Before these things didn't exist, so you had to actively go out and seek these things, as opposed to something being in place. You had to create it yourself.
Okay. So how did you become the fashion police at the NRG Stadium?
Well, they
and I'm sorry, let's define fashion police for those who don't know. What is it?
A uniform inspector.
Okay.
Technically, it's a uniform inspector, but I call it the fashion police.
Okay.
So one of my old teammates, Merton Hanks, was working for the NFL in the front office, and this is right during the Inflategate, as we call it, and they were increasing their staff on a lot of different things, and they needed more people to be on the field to make sure that the players fell in compliance with the NFL dress code, safety code, and uniform code. Mm-hmm. So Merton called a bunch of his friends up. He called me up. He said, "Hey, Dan, would you like a job working with the NFL?" And I said, "Sure." It's a game day thing. Mm-hmm. And so I'm on the field and making sure the players fall in compliance with, the look of the shield, the look of the game, making sure they look correctly, making sure that they're wearing the proper safety equipment, as well as making sure they're not wearing anything that's not licensed by the NFL.
Okay.
So there are 3 huge facets.
This sounds like an easy job.
It's fun. It ain't easy, but it is fun.
What makes it hard?
Because some of these players will wear some things and try to get away with some things that we have to find right away. Because if you wear something that's not licensed by the NFL and the TV gets access to it, now it goes worldwide right away. So we have to make sure that there's no false advertising going on without the consent of the NFL right away.
So the players will get fined for sure.
Oh, they'll get fined. The corporation gets fined. A lot of people the team gets fined. But that's what we're trying to avoid, and it's a hefty fine. Some of these fines can be pretty hefty.
Darrin, I think I can do this job. How do I apply?
No. You could do this job. You could do any job. But unfortunately, I'm the fashion police. And
you put your hat back on to say that.
Right now, I'm just saying how it is.
Okay, let me ask you this. So do you play fantasy football?
I do not play fantasy football.
You don't?
No.
What are your thoughts about it?
I think it's a fantastic game. I think it's a fantastic situation. It allows those that have not played the game to really get involved in the game. And we talk about, about women in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Well, if you've never played the sport, and there are a lot of men and women that have never played the sport, you can still play fantasy football because it's not about it's not really about the strength of the game and how you hit that guy and how that person ran and how it's about the X's and O's and who's playing and who's hurt, who's not hurt. The tangibles that are not really about being on the field, but about knowing the numbers of the game. So there are thousands of women that have really gotten involved in the NFL, have gotten involved in fantasy football, just like men that have never played the game.
Okay, wait, let me ask you a question. So when I grew up,
Yes.
don't make fun of me.
No,
But
I'm
when
good.
I grew up, I remember like my family having like a football pot. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So what is the difference between a football pot and fantasy football?
I think there's so much more information.
Okay.
The information that you have with fantasy football, it's all these stats are available to us. Well, we didn't have the information back in the day.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You had to rely on your papa to tell you some stuff, your brothers and sisters give you information. Now you go online and you can hear about all the stats about all these players and how whether they're injured, whether they're where they're traveling to, whether they're playing AstroTurf, who they're playing against. All these things come into a factor when you're drafting different players and who you sit down and who you don't play in game day. And this is just factual information that anybody can look up, which is why the NFL is that much greater, that much stronger, because now everyone's coming together and you don't have to play the game to be part of the game.
So, okay. Well, why don't you play? You sound like you're a fan of
I'm a
fantasy.
fan of the game, but I lived it my whole life. And
Okay.
now I can just sit back and watch it. And, people ask me stuff. I said, that's what I did.
Okay.
But I'm kind of done with that. I could do it. Maybe you and I will get a fantasy football team together.
Okay, so let's be clear. I will need a lot of help, okay?
Okay, I
So,
got you.
if you're willing to help
I
me.
got you. I'll help you.
Okay, now you said something earlier. You said women in the NFL.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Was that something you saw when you were playing during your 7-year tenure?
Not much. I mean, other than being interviewed in the locker room, I didn't see much of it on television. The analysts weren't there as much. Now you see it a lot on television. These women do a lot of commentating. It's a lot more prevalent now than it was back in the day. And it's been great. Everyone's winning. It's a win-win situation for all people.
So for a woman who is interested in getting into that field, what advice would you give her if she wanted to be a sportscaster, I guess?
Well, I mean, first, just going to journalism school, right? Journalism school and learning that aspect. Secondly, playing flag football, just playing the game itself. Playing flag football, at least you can understand what it feels like, not to play the game itself, but to hold the football, to kind of be involved in it, to say you did something with the game itself. I would also say, talk to the players, talk to the people that are playing the game, that are doing what you did. And also reach out to the mentors, these ladies that that are in the game already, right? There are a lot of females that have paved the way for the younger females that are coming the way. Reach back, right? And say, hey, how did you get there? That's just how it is. Look at reaching out to your mentors, and everybody wants somebody else to win. So
I love that. Somebody's always willing and ready to pass the baton.
Exactly.
Now let's back up a little bit more. So back when you were in the game, yes, I'm trying to age you.
No, you can age me all you
Back
want.
in the
'Cause
day-
I know I'm young. It's okay.
Back in the day when you were young, but you're not young anymore.
Younger.
No, but so silly. But seriously, so okay, we talked about the programs that they have now, right? And the programs you didn't have access to
right.
back then. So for the new age players, okay, we have these guys. Some, I'm gonna name some cowboy people. So Zeke, people like that.
Right.
Is that okay?
Yes.
What advice would you give them now?
To get involved with the NFL Trust.
Okay.
The NFL Trust is now the entity that is really supporting the NFL players as they work through their NFL career and towards their retirement. So you have your agent that's doing work for you. You have people that are surrounded around you that are kind of really may not be helping you as much as they think they are. The NFL Trust is there for you to work on your career.
Okay.
They're there to help you and give you direction on what you want to do. They're there to listen to your ideas and to say, okay, here's how we're going to make your ideas reality. Here's what we're going to do to help your ideas come to fruition before you're done. Here's what we want to do before you get done while you still have a platform. And, Zeke Elliott to the world, I mean, they're great. They're not worried about much because they are, Hall of Famers.
Okay.
How about the average player that's
Okay.
playing 1 or 2 years?
Okay.
How about the guy that plays 1 season?
That guy needs to also be a part of the trust.
Right. That
Take
guy
advantage.
gets
Okay.
right. Those are the guys that the superstars of the NFL, they're going to be fine for the most part because corporations are going to go after them. Right. The guys like myself, the bubble people, we're trying to make the team. You know, we don't know if we're going to be on the team the next week. We don't know if we're going to be on the team the next year. We may have 2 or 3 years. You know, we have a small window of time to make a name for ourselves. And while we have that small window of time, no one knows who we are, right? Because we are not the all-stars of the NFL. But the trust says the small guy, the NFL guy, as long as you're part of the NFL, we are going to help you out. You don't have to be the premier players of the NFL. We just want you to be part of the NFL team. And the guys that are trying to make it, the guys that may make it, the guys that are there for a year or two, those are the guys that say, hey, dig dive into the NFL trust and reach out to those people, because if you're an NFL athlete, whether you're drafted, whether you're not drafted, whether you play college ball or not, you still are an NFL player. And you are still part of, you know, our shield. And we want you to be successful so that when you take your name and you go into a different corporation, now there's like, okay, hey, that guy's a lot smarter. That guy's a lot more intelligent. That guy's a lot more cheater than what, you know, than what we think.
On that note, Darin,
right?
our time is up. But no, seriously, thank you, because this is information that the people do need, because not everybody is in newspapers or on ESPN every single week. So thank you for coming into the studio and sharing this with us today. Life after the NFL.
Life after the NFL has been good.
Awesome.
We're doing okay.
So guys, I am going to be right back right after this break.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month. Both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back. Did you guys feel inspired after hearing from Mr. Jordan about life after the NFL and what you can do if that's your dream? I hope you guys took notes. I'm always hoping that you're taking notes. Even if you're not writing them down, make some mental notes. Now, what do you do after you accomplish your dream? That's something I want all of us to start thinking about, and including myself. So, you know, we're always talking about dreaming out loud and dreaming and going for whatever it is that you want, which is something that you should do. But what do you do when you've accomplished it, you've sustained it, and now time is for something else? Like the season is new. It's time to do something different, something more engaging, something fun, or maybe something more laid back. I want all of us using resources. And that's something that Darin said over and over and over again. He kept repeating resources. Guys, we all have limitless access to resources. And I'm not just meaning Google. Who do you know that's in a field that you want to be in next, right? So you don't have to stay in the same career field forever. What do you really want to do next? What's coming up for you in this next season of your life? Find yourself a mentor, and no matter how old you are, you can always have a mentor. Listen, I'm 39 and I have 3 mentors for 3 different areas of my life, and I love it. My career, spiritual, and professional. Because guess what? I always hope to grow while I'm still here on this side of life. So make sure that you're pre-planning for whatever it is that you want next. So life after blank. And what is blank for you? Make sure that you're working on that. As always, I'm going to be right back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And I'm going to make sure you're tuning in. And guess what? Keep writing about that studio audience, because you never know. It may come to fruition a lot sooner than we think. And make sure that you're following us on American Star TV. That's on Instagram and Facebook. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Toodles.